This is my module for week 8 in the data analysis. I am presenting our chapter 1 math tests. We talked about probability in this test, and it is for 7th grade. So we will be looking at 2 periods, period 2 and period 7. I've changed all the students' names, and I've made a graph to show you where they fell. So this is period 2. And I calculated their mean, median, mean, and range. The range ranged between 43 out of 80 points and an 80 out of 80. So the median was an 85.5. The mode, the most received, was a 70 out of 80. And the mean was 65.4. So in the test, let me show you the other graph real quick, and then I will talk about the test. And this is period 7. They're fairly close. Not so much dips in their scores. The mean was a 63.6. This one had many more modes, many more repeated. They had a 57, 62, 64, 65.5, 66.5, 73.5. The median was 63.75, and the range was slightly smaller, 48.5 to 76. And here's that information I just read off fairly quickly. But the test was mostly percentages. Most of the class got the modified test. We give out 3 tests, variations during test time. So there's the average test. There's a modified test, which usually gives the start of the problem. So for probability, it gives the P. It might give the parentheses, and the students have to put in the word. It will say, is it theoretical or experimental, and the students will need to circle it, where the original test will tell you have to tell which of them is being used. It's in the directions, and you need to write the word. And in the original test, it doesn't give you any of the P or the parentheses. For the ELL version, there are a significant number of less problems. There are 16 versus the 15. I'm sorry, there's 8 versus the 15, so there's about half. There's many more diagrams on the modified versus the original. And things are highlighted on the modified test. We also talk about fractions and percentages, and we talk about area and finding the mean, median, and mode. So these 2 classes are co-taught, so they have 2 teachers, and the students get a variation of different testing accommodations for their testing. One thing we did realize after giving this test is because in the small group testing room, there are 3 different tests being administered at one time. For the next test, we are going to do a read aloud version online for students to try to help give the students additional assistance. Having 1 teacher, 3 different tests, and 12 students makes it very difficult for me to get around to give all the modifications and needs to all the students. So if I could pre-record myself giving each question and talking it out with each student, I can better meet the needs of the students. So I'm hoping that will help some of our test scores, because we found that during test makeups, a lot of the students were able to show that they understood the concepts, but just didn't understand the problems because I just simply wasn't able to get to them in the duration of time and meet all the needs of the students. So we're quite pleased with the grades, but we're also trying to modify and see how we can help them. So if you have any additional questions, let me know. I'm just going to show the graphs again, but this is period 2, and you can see a lot of ups and downs within the data, and period 7 as well has a lot of ups and downs amongst the students. But the data for the mean, median, and mode wasn't too far off among the two. But we are going to modify and adjust just a tad, so I'll be interested to see how it works for test 2. And we might start with quizzes as well with the audible, but there's often I can get around, because there's not so many problems on a quiz, I can get around to all the students. Thanks so much. Have a great day.